Men don't end up with someone they love. They end up with someone who's going to start their family, who they're going to start a family with. That always stuck with me. So I don't think women try to operate that way.
I don't think that's true though. Sidebar.
Yes.
Soulmates.
Okay.
Do you think there's like one person?
I really think it's a disservice to humans to say you have one person out of 7 billion humans for the rest of your life. The only reason I would say I'm stuck on one person is if I truly feel that this is where I want to be at that moment. But for the most part, I'm constantly shopping.
But pause. Again, this is so psycho, right? You're equating dating to shopping. It's not the same thing.
How is it not the same thing?
No. No, I'm gonna look at me. Don't listen to her. Look at me. Because at that point, then let's not even call it dating.
Why? You can date multiple people during the dating stage.
That's the thing though.
That's toxic.
What?
You if I wanted a job, I would apply to 100 jobs to find that one job because all I need is a yes. What?
No comments. Long story short.
Okay.
I want you to describe your ideal partner.
Welcome to Am I Too Loud, the podcast.
I think you look rough. Why do you look so rough?
I look rough?
You need a haircut.
Wait, really?
You absolutely do.
I look rough?
Yeah, you don't look good.
No, I don't look rough.
Did
No, I don't.
you comb your hair? Like the sides are a bit uneven.
My sides aren't even?
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be.
No, it's not supposed to be like that, Donald. Anyways, are we ready to start? You should comb your hair next time we do the podcast. Are you going to put your shoes?
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do.
Donald is going to spend this entire episode looking at himself. Donald, sit your ass down. Well, you're blocking my own camera now. All right, guys, welcome back to Am I Too Loud, the podcast with Sofi, aka the Odditty, and her favorite human in the entire world, Mr. Donald, aka Donald is Random, the most random creative to ever walk this earth. Donald, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You piss me off.
Okay,
bro.
sorry.
You try really hard to
Okay,
vex me.
you know you said
That's
this.
what
You
happens.
said this the other day. You said I whisper. I don't think I'm whispering.
No, but I feel like you need to warm up into the episode every time we talk because
No.
you did not need to introduce yourself by saying hey. Why did you sound like that? Why did you sound
I'm
so
gonna take my
upbeat?
glasses off.
You should.
It's not warm up the episode.
It's war.
I think it's just how I am. Like when I meet people, I like to just like make sure,
Who are you meeting?
like the audience.
Welcome to today's episode, guys. We're talking all about situationships. Now, let me tell you how shady Donald is, okay? Because I didn't know what the episode for today's podcast is because life has been a bit hectic, and Donald is like, I'm gonna handle it. You just come and show up. I'm gonna have your iPad ready. I'm gonna have all the information you need to talk about. What you need to talk about, and I'm like, okay, bet. So I am venting to him about something that I am currently involved in. And I'm like, just what do you think about this? And he has the biggest smile on his face. And I'm like, Donald, why are you smirking? Why are you smiling? And he's like, because this means you're going to love our next podcast episode. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because the title is Situationships. So now I feel like, do you think I am currently in a situationship? Is that why you decided to have this episode
I think this
about
is
situationships?
what's that thing called? Serendipity? I don't. I think that's what this is.
You really think so? You think I'm in a situationship?
No, you tell us. Are you in a situationship?
I don't think I am.
I'm not going to be the one to speak your situation ship into public.
Whatever. So basically, this episode is all about situationships, and I don't necessarily know where we're gonna come at this from, but I am currently in something I like to call a semi-relationship. I don't know how to explain it, but before we get into it, I wanted to describe or define what a situationship is. And you know what's even crazier? It's already pulled up in my Google. Like,
were you searching for?
Because I was talking to my situationship about it. So I was telling my situationship about it yesterday, and I was like, oh, I am going to be doing the podcast episode about situationships.
Uh-huh.
And the person was like, really? Are we in a situationship? And I was like, I hope the camera pans to Donald's face when I just said that.
It's just like in my research of like looking at the situationships, there's so much to discuss because like even that question triggers me.
So the person is like, are we in a situation? And I'm like, I'm not sure actually. And then I'm like, let's Google, or they say, let's Google what it is. And so I'm going to describe to you what a situationship is according to Google, because then we went on a whole tangent. But a situationship refers to a romantic or sexual connection between two people that lacks a clear label or commitment. often described as a relationship-ish arrangement, is characterized by spending time together, intimacy, and potential romantic feelings, but without the formal title, expectations, or commitment of a traditional relationship. Now, while we were having our conversation, we also said, is a relationship healthy or unhealthy? And we both, like, Google said
A relationship
it could be
or a situationship?
a situationship.
Okay.
And Google said it could be either or. It doesn't have to be unhealthy.
Yeah, I love when people in situationships like gaslight themselves. Like, yeah, we're good.
So that's
That's how people get to 5 years.
of what situation.
Because a lot of the stories we're going to talk about in this episode is
Well, I
like,
think that's an absurd thing.
oh, really?
I think that's an absurd. No, I generally do. Okay, let me say this by. Let's first start with
Which part is absurd?
5 years in a situationship.
Okay,
is
okay,
absurd,
okay.
Right, that makes no sense to me.
Okay.
But let me explain why. And this is like a no judgment zone. And this conversation is not. This is not one of those self-help podcasts.
Yeah,
You
no.
because I feel people yap a lot, like online, like all these podcasts are like, you need to let them be and do this, do that. We're human beings. It's fucking hard. So I'm not gonna come here and sit and be in my high horse and tell you this is exactly what you need to be doing if you're in love with someone. Because emotions are emotions, and you have to deal with it when you're ready. But we're gonna yap about my current situation, Donald's ethos around situationships. We're gonna react to some videos around situationships as well. And we're going to close out with like maybe some thoughts and advice moving forward if you are in a situationship or you're not in a situationship, whatever that focus is. But first, I'm going to say I've only ever been in 2 relationships, like 2, like, hey, would you be my girlfriend? I said, yes, I am dating you situations. And I'm 27. Only, I believe, 2 would I describe as a situationship in terms of like, we both knew there was really intense feelings there, but we also knew that we might potentially date really soon. One of us might just not be ready for the commitment or the label. And then the others were just like pre-dating, or like we're dating before we end up saying like we want to start getting to know each other, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So like for a lot of people, the question I want to pose is, at what point are you in a situation? Do you guys decide, okay, fine. Is it when you ask the question, what are we? Is it when you're dating and you're like, what is this going on? Is there a timeline for that? If you've been talking for 3 weeks or 3 months and you're like, what are we? And then you have the conversation. What does that look like? Why are you smiling at me? I'm asking you.
You're asking me the question?
Yeah, and the audience too, because I want people to talk about it in the comments as well. So I don't want to tell you the answers to any of this. I want us to ask each other the question. And I also want folks who are not in relationships or who are in relationships not to look down on people who are in situationships.
No, of course.
Because I feel like in many ways, some people choose that. Like there have been situations that I've been in where we both knew we wanted to enjoy it for the moment, but there was not future. There was a particular guy that I was in a situationship with for a minute, and we both just knew that our parents would never want us to be together. Like we just knew that he was Christian, I was Muslim. We just knew we're not going to end up together. So ideally, or essentially, we're both like, I want to enjoy this moment with you, knowing it's going to come to an end. Yeah. So we both sort of like enjoyed the time we had together. And now the person is married.
So this is the messed up thing about that, right? Because I feel like in my past, I've had girls who I've been in situationships with, because I feel like there's no conversation that like, hey,
you're
we're
a
in
professional
situationship.
situationship.
Wait, pause.
Okay.
No, I'm saying that because like when I look back in context, I'm like, I feel like I was playing with this girl's feelings because I feel like this particular girl, like this girls, they actually like me. Right? So it's like, I can call it a situationship, but it's like, are they calling it a situationship too? Or is it a situationship like, we both know that like, this is not leading anywhere?
Yeah. So here's where my sort of like issue comes in with situationships. Okay. I think the hang up becomes, if you're with someone who you clearly know you like more than they like you, right? Or you feel like you are clearly interested in wanting to be committed and they've been very clear that they don't want to be committed, you are actively making the choice to stay through everything. That is my biggest thing. So for example, a lot of the conversations we've seen around situationships is oftentimes from the woman's standpoint, when she's like, this guy said he's not ready for commitment, but I'm hoping in a year, in 2 years, if I show him how good I am to him, we're going to end up together. That is the problem.
Interesting.
Why?
Just interesting.
Fuck you. Why are you smirking when you look at me like that?
Because when I was doing research for this episode, I was only getting the woman's perspective. And I was like, why is it just women talking about this? Because
for lack of a better word, in society, our biological clocks tick more.
Okay.
A woman wants to be committed more. And this is such a broad statement to make. So maybe I would say some or in general, right?
Majority.
Let's go with that. majority of the time, a woman wants to be more committed than a man in most situations. For example, a man's sole goal, some men, a few men, majority of the men, blah, blah, you get the point. They want to be financially responsible, be providers, finish school, do this, da, 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 da. A man could be 35 and still say they're not ready to settle down. I know several 35 to 40-year-olds who have either never had girlfriends nor interested in having a girlfriend who are still not settling down. I know several, right? And for women, at 26, 27, you're like, I want to get married. I want to have all my kids before I'm 30. I want to have all my kids before I'm 25. Like, there is a biological clock that's ticking for women where they have to decide and say, I need to be committed because I want to have X, Y, and Z at this stage in my life or in my career. That's why a lot of times women find themselves in this position, because society has women being stuck in this idea of, to seek this, I need this man to accept me in this way. So that's why a lot of women, I think, find themselves in a lot more situationships than men do. 1. 2, my biggest thing is, if you're in a relationship, situationship, whatever, and you tell this person, hey, I really want this, and they say no, it is your choice to either stay or go. And when a lot of people get frustrated about situationships is one party is feeling the heat and the brunt of, they want something and they're waiting for the other person to be ready. And in most of these cases, you always end up never being ready. I don't know the percentage of people who were in situationships before they ended up in a relationship. Because then they probably would never have called it a situationship because they knew they were going towards the trajectory of a relationship. Does that make sense?
Right.
And I think that's where the issue comes in. Like when people tell me,
that's what you mean.
You've been like, you would never, if you end up dating someone, you're not going to say we're in a situationship before we ended up dating. I'll give you an example. My recent ex, we were in a friends with benefits situation that was very clear. And at the moment when I was like, you know what? He was very upset about some things I was doing. And I was like, let me know what do you want us to be? You need to decide that and come back to me. And then he asked me out. You know what I mean? Like, it was very clear behavior that made us work towards the end. So now when we talk like, oh, we started as friends with benefits, but we ended up just being in a relationship. That makes sense. But for a lot of cases, if you're in a 2-year, 3-year situation where you're constantly asking yourself, what are we? That's a red flag for you to tell you that there's no commitment or anything going on in the future. And most of the time, that's really what the case is. Why are you looking at me?
Okay.
I
have so many questions.
Let's talk about what the timeline is. There's this girl on TikTok that I need to find.
How long should the talking stage last? There is something called the 3-month rule. If you are not boyfriend... No.
How long should a talking stage last? Because if you talk too long, your window might pass. You can only do so much talking or twiddling thumbs, hoping for a date, which never comes. The talking stage, that should be short, brief, flirty banter, and building rapport. Once you have done that, then set a date, then it's no longer talking. It's dating. That's great. You're not in a relationship yet, so you start talking yet. Oh my God, I am sick and tired and done with stating that when you are going on dates, you're dating. Who decided that? What makes you so smart? Don't shoot the messenger. It's on the chart. There is no dates in the talking stage. Let's just be clear. You're dating once the dates appear. And talking is before the first date takes place. It's the coordination following the thrill of the chase. And you can continue to talk until date 1, but once you get there, talking stage done. Who cares about labels? It's just a name. No, dating and talking are not the same, but dating words and stuff, it's all subjective. Oh, really? Let's do some logic from your perspective. Let's take some verbs and water them down and see how that goes, you dumb fucking clown. Let's slow down running and change it to walking, or we'll call it tapping rather than clogging, or it's not staring, it's merely a glance, or that guy's not rolling, he's just in a trance. Hey, you're annoying, enough with the yelling. Bitch, using your logic, I'm only telling, and also, I'm not quite done. Let's take something boring and call it fun, or a little pew-pew thing rather than gun, or a ball of fire instead of the sun, or a giant rock instead of the earth, a diamond to stone despite what it's worth. You think it's reality when you're only dreaming? Oh, bitch, I'm just talking loud. I'm not fucking screaming. Do you see what I mean? Because I am sick and tired and done with stating that when you are going on dates, you're dating. Go figure it out. Use the right terms or I will be back to pick on you fucking nerds. Done with doing this. Okay? I hope this...
Essentially, what that video was saying is... the timeline for a relationship is pretty simple. You talk to someone, meaning I see you at the bar. Hey, hi, how are you? You get a number. You're kikiing, kaka, you're talking. When a date is set, when you go on a first date, when a date is set, you're dating, right? You can date multiple people during this time. You can date one person. If you've gone on multiple dates, that's when the conversation happens where it's like, what are we? What are we defining this as? Is there a future here? When those conversations are met, that's when people now begin to verge off into relationship versus situationship. Because that's when this conversation happens, someone in the party says, what are we? And one person either goes, I think I want you to be my girlfriend, boyfriend. I think there's a future here. I want to see where this goes. I want to date you some more to get to know you. I want you to meet my parents, blah, 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 blah. Or the other party says, actually, I really just want to enjoy dating you. I want to enjoy with no commitments. We're not exclusive. We're not anything. Go forth. Go do your thing. And the other person might say, oh, but we're dating. I really like you. I really want a relationship here. And the other person says, I'm not ready for that. I don't want a commitment. I'm really just interested in dating you right now. You then have to make the decision whether or not to continue dating them, or if you want a relationship, you say, oh, peace. I'm actually really interested in a relationship. I don't want a situationship. I'm out of here. Goodbye.
But I think that's a bit scary though.
Yes.
Right? I'll take it from a personal angle. It's scary because if I'm talking to someone, right, the reason why, if I don't want to be in a relationship with that person, I'm not bringing up the conversation. Because I'm afraid
that's
that if
toxic.
because I'm afraid that if I say, okay, let's keep dating, right, we'll date to oblivion. Because then it's like, am I allowed to see other people? Are you allowed to see other people?
Yes.
Now it's like, I can't do that.
Why?
I can't, because at that point, then let's not even call it dating.
Why? You can date multiple people during the dating stage.
That's the thing, though.
What?
It's too much energy.
What do you mean?
It's too much energy. I think people...
That's toxic.
No, it's not.
Okay, here's the thing. I think I want to redefine conversations around dating.
Yeah, before you even say that, right?
Okay.
I think let's talk about connection.
Okay.
If I pick someone, I see
love
you...
whenever we get into our talking...
No, if I see you and I'm like, hey, like, think about it like a rom-com, like a movie.
Okay.
Guys walking... No. We are in a movie. Life is a movie. Guys, listen. Okay. Guys walking, girls walking. They come out of a cafe, they bump into each other, right? They lock in eyes. They're like, oh my God, wow. They start talking.
Yeah.
They realize they have stuff in common.
Yes.
They set up a date, right? They go out, they talk. A 30-minute date turns into a 2-minute stroll in the park, right?
Yeah.
They end up like walking, grabbing drinks, you know.
The stuff, right?
All the stuff, right? 11 p.m., they get into bed, stuff happens, and the guys decides to call out of work, right? And they're together the entire day, right? Those two people are dating. You're trying to tell me that you're going to have that experience and then go on another type of that experience with somebody else and then multiple people?
Yes. This is how I think women are losing the dating match. Let me explain.
I'm talking about from a man perspective though.
Fuck that, no. Let me tell you, you might be the guy who, okay, don't. You're like 1 in a million. Let me explain this. You're 1 in a million. And that's not even true because I've seen you move. Okay, so, okay. Because here's the thing.
Okay.
Emotions can't be compartmentalized. I like to say...
No, that's toxic.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't think so. I can...
Let us know in the comments.
Huh? Here's how I think, right? If I am talking to you, I'm talking to you. If we've not had the exclusivity conversation, I can talk to multiple people at the same time. I'm shopping around. If I want a car, I can see the kind of different cars that are out there. It's the same way with the relationships, though.
I don't want you...
And hold on.
You're trying
and
to
if
run
I've
with
seen...
this.
No, I'm well, lie. Like, the only reason I would say I'm stuck on one person is if I truly feel that this is where I want to be at that moment. But for the most part, I'm constantly shopping.
But pause. Again, this is so psycho, right? You're equating dating to shopping. It's not the same thing.
How is it not the same thing?
Because that's how I move, right? Like
in a business relationship, are you not going to look at different business partners and see who?
This is not business.
Yes, it is. A relationship is a partnership.
No. Look at me. Look at me. Don't listen to her. Look at me. Let me tell you something.
Girls, listen to me.
When we're talking about the things that have to do with the heart, right? That's why I don't understand. It's like, how are you going on a date with someone that you've not genuinely like had a spark with? Right? Like, I feel like...
Because sparks can be built.
No. I disagree.
I absolutely agree.
No, I agree.
I absolutely agree.
If you go on a date, your first date with someone that you genuinely had a spark with, not someone that you swipe with, not someone that like...
No, but think about it in this way. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I am interrupting you. Because you're talking about... you're talking about this from like a standpoint of, oh, you're going on a date and you think there was a huge spark there. You never, if you go 2 weeks into this dating and maybe you meet their family and you just realize, oh, their family is shitty, it affects your view of the person. So now you guys might not work out, right? That's something that life happens. We tend to see, in rom-coms, we don't see the messy part of life, right? We don't see the part where like you might have a spark with someone and then we find out that they actually just broke up with their ex a day ago. So the ex might be in love with you, but they realize this might be a really bad time for me to get into another relationship. So I want to go away.
But that's a good point though, right?
Of what?
Because you meet this one person, right? You go on a date, right? The spark is there.
Okay.
You go on another date and then you find out something and you're like, no, dunzo. You cannot have that person that you're like, okay, I don't like their family, but let me go on a date with this person. And now you're on a date with this person and I don't like their sister. They have this habit.
But
now
that's like people who are going on constant hinge dates, right? Like you can't hinge. So what you're
that's why there's no success.
That's what?
Success with people that go on multiple hinge dates.
Yes, there is.
Who have you seen?
Several people. That's what happened. So I think you're saying that from the perspective of a very and I always call you out on this attractive man, right? Where like you have options, so you're able to double down and say you want this one person for now, right? For a lot of women in situations, I want a lot more women to think about dating as having options, because you do. Women oftentimes think that because they like this man, they want to stick to that man. Most men do not think in that way. Most people don't think in that way. Most people are constantly thinking of, I'm just simply dating. If you are dating, you are open season. Like you can choose whoever you want, go on dates with, and you're being very upfront whoever you're dating to. Like for the most part, when I'm going out on dates, like right now, I'm currently dating.
Okay.
Right? If I want to go out on dates, I can.
Okay.
I'm just choosing not to.
Okay.
I want a lot more women to treat the dating stage as that. You're simply dating. You're trying to figure out what you like and what you don't like. What ends up happening a lot of times with women, especially, is you find a guy, you say you really like him for some reason. How do you even know what you like in a person? Is it the way they courted you? Is it the way they bought you flowers? Is it the way they give you gifts? Is it the way they speak to you? You can't know that until you've constantly dated multiple. And there are people, of course, who meet one person, they say, oh, I really liked him and I'm stuck with that person, and they end up being together for the rest of their lives. That happens.
Okay.
Of course it does.
I see what you're saying.
But there are also people who will meet one person and will be stuck there, and then 2 years later, they're like, I wish I dated more so I knew what I liked and what I didn't like. Right? Because at the end of the day, a relationship is supposed to lead into whether or not a marriage, and then you're going to have children, you're going to build a family. And marriage in itself is when you're actually saying, legally, you have become my partner in life for the rest of our lives.
Right.
So to get to that point, for me, I think it's a very airy take. And airy is like A-I-R-Y. So like you're in there, you're in the clouds, emotions, right? It's a very like emotional take to say, you meet this person, because of how much feelings you have for the person, this is the person you're going to spend the rest of your lives with, and you don't try to date other people.
I think we're talking about it from
very logical standpoint.
Two different perspectives. I think you're talking about this from like, because
I'm
what you just said,
I'm a logical
no, not even
lover,
that. What
and
you
you're
just
a
said
romantic lover.
No. You're talking about it from a female perspective. What you just said, like two women, I agree.
Okay.
Right? I think I'm thinking about it as a guy. Right? I think that's how I'm thinking about it, because like I'm not going on.
You don't know. That's not true. You're the only guy who doesn't date people because women come to you.
No. Pause.
Donald.
I don't know if she's doing this.
What?
No,
it's true.
because
Women come to you. That's why you don't date. If you and your person broke up today, you are not the man who's gonna download dating apps to start dating people.
No.
You won't do that. You will go out tomorrow and 3 girls will hit on you, and you find one that you really think you're attracted to. You're gonna start dating that person, and you end up married. I'm telling you, that's your MO. Like that's who you are. Like you just have that aura, that's tease, whatever it is.
But the connection has to be there.
Doesn't mean connection, you find it.
No, because what you're saying, right? Like if a woman is, imagine I'm someone and I want to get into a relationship. I'm looking for a partner. Okay. And what I have to do is to date multiple people. That is exhausting.
No, it's not.
It's absolutely exhausting.
Why do you think it is?
It is, because it's like, I don't think it's possible to have, because, okay, let's talk about time frames, right? Because if we're talking about like in a year.
Guys, this is such a fun conversation.
What is like the minimum, what is medium, and what's maximum, right? No, let's look at it from that perspective, right? Because if you're a woman and like in a month, you're going on like 7 different dates, like on average, every single month with 7 different guys, that is exhausting.
If you're trying to find something, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what part is it not exhausting?
Do you understand that?
But you mean like people are just like casual chilling?
You know people casually date, right? Like there's people who are like, I'm not ready for a relationship, but I want to have sexual partners, and I also want to just date. I want to get to know what I like.
We need to actually like, describe the people we're talking about. We're talking about everybody.
Listen, everybody. There are people who I think, and I'll say this, like maybe we don't talk about this enough. I think in our community, especially the Black community, dating is oftentimes frowned upon. I don't think in most parts of the world is frowned upon as much as our community is.
Yeah, no,
like the story we tell ourselves, especially, is women are not supposed to date. This man is supposed to come and pluck you. He picks you. You see, you agree, and then you finally found your husband.
Right. I think it's
Women
the
don't-
religious element.
Yeah, women don't get to choose what they want. Like if you're at church and this guy says he likes you, if he's tall, if he's fine, if his parents are good, if he has money, okay, fine, that's your man. Go and marry him. We don't get to choose.
I agree with what
And
you're saying.
do you know the amount of friends I have? Like when you call her daddies, the Remy Baders of the world, when I hear my white friends talk about their dating lives, it's a lot more full, a lot more exhausting for sure. And they're very overwhelmed sometimes about like the people that they're dating. But they also have so many options. Like a woman, they would tell you.
You get to meet multiple
people and they get to understand what they like and what they don't like. I remember like when I left my last relationship, one of the biggest things I told myself is I want to date more. And then I ended up in a fucking situationship where I was like, fuck, I don't know if I want to date anymore now.
Right.
So I'm here. But like, I really told myself, I was like, oh, I actually want to date now. I want to go on multiple dates, see what I like, see what I don't like. And in the short time that I even did those dates, it was so clear quickly how many things I let slide because I thought this person was my person, without actually thinking about what the dating stage was. Does that make sense? And I want more women to actually try that. And it's a perspective thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a perspective thing when you decide I am simply dating to get to know what I like. Because you also have a choice in that partnership.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Because you right now, when you go out, Donald, you know exactly the kind of woman you want. So the women are auditioning for you. Right. A lot of women are in that audition phase as early as when they're young and they start having crushes. We're constantly auditioning to see which guy, woman, whatever is going to like me. I want one woman to say, oh, you auditioned for me. And you honestly, the women who honestly end up getting the men or the women who of their dreams are the women who tell you exactly what they want because they've either dated or they know, they have a list.
I think it's a terminology
shake.
thing, right? Because that experience I categorize as talking.
Well,
right? It's like where like how I was able to know, okay, this is the type of person I want.
And that's where the TikTok comes in, right? Because I think you might feel a lot more weight in going on multiple dates with multiple people because also you're the one spending the money.
Exactly.
Yay! I feel like that's a huge part of why you're also like, I don't want to go on 7 days with women and have to pay for all this. That makes sense.
I want to just like know that.
Yeah, you want to talk and kick it cheap is what he is. Okay.
I mean, times it by 8. It doesn't matter. It's like times it by 8.
But I'm like, in my understanding then, I think when you're talking, you're talking. When you guys start going on dates, you're going on dates. And usually what ends up happening within that dating stage is someone says, oh, actually, I'm catching feelings for you. What are we? Sometimes it's the guy who says, I think I really want you to be my girlfriend. I might ask you soon. What are you feeling? Is that okay? Is that no? A girl is like, oh my God, I'm so excited. She finds out she's gonna be the girlfriend. It makes sense. Other side is the girl brings up the what are we conversation. The guy says he's not ready for a commitment. She says she's not ready for a commitment. She either stays in it, we're hoping he's ready, does not stay in it, vice versa, right? That I think is where situationships happen. Because if you're in a relationship with someone, right, or you're dating someone and you want more out of that situation and the other person doesn't, it is up to you to decide whether or not you're going to stay or go. If you're choosing to stay, you're not dreaming, oh, at some point in the future, we're going to end up together.
Right.
You have to understand that you are simply staying in that situation with no labels, with no commitment, because you want to. And the moment you're tired of that situation, you should have the strength to exit. And I think a lot of stuff we're going to read today is women talking about how they feel like they want to leave, or they're scared of leaving, they're playing games, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, every woman knows that all the games you're playing, for the most part, they're not going to stay. If they didn't want you at the beginning, they're not going to want you at the end. And that's the tough pill that a lot of us don't want to hear. What?
No comments.
Why?
I have no comments.
What's going on?
You said it all.
Oh, okay. Well, let's continue.
In that, because like,
no, talk. I want you to talk.
I just don't think it's that complicated, right? Because like,
yes,
because I feel like we date differently.
Okay.
First of all, like, yes, right? I'm a guy, but we date differently, right? Mm-hmm. Because I imagine there are a lot of girls who would probably see me talking and be like, this man wasted my time. Like, yes. I talked to him for almost a year and did not lead to anything. Mm-hmm. Now, on one end, any girl that I ever talked to for like more than like 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
and we just kept on talking and I never said anything,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any intention.
So explain for the women listening, explain to them why you knew in 2 weeks that you didn't want to commit and why you kept it going.
But that's the thing is like, I don't think I've ever, like the kept it going was never like, oh, I'm leading you on, I'm selling you on anything. Like I would never bring anything like that up. If you ask me, I'll tell you point blank, no.
I've heard this so many times.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, so in my head, I'm just like, if I didn't tell you like in the first week, then it means that like everything that we did moving forward is because like you were like a willing participant.
I think that's a cop-out.
Okay.
And I think that's a cop-out a lot of men and women, honestly, because we're talking about same-sex and full, like opposite-sex relationships. I think that's a cop-out.
Why?
I think the most disrespectful thing you can do to somebody else is pretend like you don't know what the reality is. Let me explain what that is.
Okay.
Like any human knows because you didn't say something doesn't mean you don't know it's happening or it exists. Right. But it's easier to enjoy something you're getting without confronting it because you think you might lose it if you confront it. And that's something selfishly you just chose to do.
Right.
So in many ways, a situationship is oftentimes selfish because honestly, you are enjoying whatever the talking stage, dating part of it is, and whoever the partner is enjoying the same thing too. She might still be thinking, oh, one day he's going to see how great I am and then she's going to want to stay.
Right.
And you're like, no, girl, I'm just living my best life, enjoying this. It's up to you in that situation to be the man or the person to say, hey, I want to make sure we're clear. This is not going anywhere.
No, of course. Yeah.
You need to make it. Most people never do that. And that's why dating is oftentimes really, really selfish and women suffer the most because women are the ones who are feeling all these emotions for the most part, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm thinking me and this guy are going to be together forever. He's going to do this. And the guy's looking like, I didn't tell you I was going to do any of that. So why are you thinking that?
So what do you do in a situation where it's like, sidebar,
Yes.
soulmates,
Okay.
right? Do you think there's like one person?
No.
Okay.
Someone asked me that yesterday.
Or
Yeah.
because like when I think about it from that situation, from that perspective, I'm like, okay, what if you don't want to tell the person because like you really want them in your life?
Yeah. I think there are tough conversations that need to happen. And you need to suck it up and know you're going to lose someone if you're not. Because at the end of the day, you know what's crazy? You're just postponing the inevitable.
Right. Like it's going to happen.
Go.
You're just pushing it.
Like you just push it. Like, and that's something I've never understood is when people draw out relationships. Because honestly, at the end of the day, it ends worse and you lose out at the end of the day.
True. That's
like
true.
if you know this is not going to end in what you think the other person really, really want, but you're too scared to tell them, you know for a fact, once they find out, whatever happens,
especially if you
they're
realize
going to hate
faster,
you for it.
right? Because sometimes like the other person has not realized and you realize, but then you don't want to say anything.
You don't want to say anything.
And then that person realizes and then they act on it and then everything is just like...
It's shitty. And everyone knows the story. We've
Right.
heard it several
We've heard it
times.
before,
We
yeah.
know it happens. You know you're postponing the inevitable. But selfishly, as humans, we want to protect this as much as we can before we know it blows up. Then you're just being selfish at the end of the day. And also for the soulmate question, I really think it's a disservice to humans to say you have one person out of 7 billion humans for the rest of your life. I think that's like something that
It's
we're
part
all
of the
sold.
delusion.
Yes, a delusion. Like,
Yeah.
and I think you can actively choose someone for the rest of your life. Anyone who's had a successful marriage would tell you that marriage is the hardest thing you'd have to go through because you're choosing to be with one person for the rest of your life, loyal to the person, be
Or
there
multiple,
for the person, or multiple, like whatever your kick is, right? You're choosing partnership with this one person so you can make a life together, build a family, da 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 da. At the end of the day, that person could either be your soulmate, your best friend, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Well, business oftentimes work when you guys work well together, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I always say with marriage and partnerships, relationships, all that stuff, they need to work well. And the moment it's not working well, you choose to make it work. Go through therapy, talk to friends, revisit each other, date each other.
Yeah, like you
so
keep
many
going.
ways to keep it going. And the moment one of you gives up, that's when things end.
Right.
In every relationship, the moment one of you gives up, the relationship is over. In a situationship, the moment one of you is not willing to commit, there is no relationship to begin with.
Yeah.
And you, as the other person who is open to committing, you have to make the decision to either stay or go. And you're not staying because you're under the delusion that this person is going to somehow make a 180 and want you.
Yeah.
You're staying because you're enjoying it. You're selfishly too wanting what it is at that moment and knowing fully well you can detach. Now, a lot of women can say, I'm going to detach whenever I'm ready. And they don't detach.
Yeah, it's just because like we're all human too.
Yeah.
So it's difficult
Is it?
for two people to be like there might be like successful situationships where two people are on the same page
Which is
for a
fine,
really long
yeah.
time, right? That's how they get to like the 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
Like
4 years, 5 years is crazy.
no. But
That's crazy.
some people.
I'm sorry. That one I'm looking at
No,
you.
no.
If listen to me. If you were listening to this podcast right now
But
and
you
you've been in a
can't say that,
situationship for
though.
4 to 5 years, are you mad?
But you can't say that.
I can't. Shut up.
You know why you can't
I
say
can't.
that? Because
2 years, a year.
that contradicts everything you've just
It
talked
does
about.
not. You are not choosing that shit. You're
does.
mad. What?
Okay, so
Because both of you have commitment issues. You're practically in a relationship already. And then those kind of people that will have children together too. Don't vex me.
I found this Reddit.
Okay.
I was going through Reddit, right?
Mm-hmm.
This particular one I found, I want you to read it. It says good enough to fuck, but not to date.
Okay. Someone says, I had been having sex with my friends with benefit for a few months. We go out clubbing, we do dinners, we sleep over, we talk for hours. I ended up falling for her and I confessed my feelings. She told me that as much as she enjoyed fucking me, she would never date an Asian. Good enough to fuck, but not good enough to date. He should walk away. Why is he still there?
What do you mean, why is this still there?
Can we talk about this real quick? Why do people equate fucking and good sex to being a good partner? I've had some really, really good sex in my life, and I knew for a fact they were going to be shitty partners, but it was just a really good lay. It was we enjoyed fucking the shit out of each other. Also, sidebar.
Is it bad that people want both?
No,
or
no, no.
wish that they could have both?
Of course. But that's also, I think in many ways you can train someone to have good sex with you. Some people like to think in a world where you can't. Like some people learn sex as you go. Like you learn each other's bodies, you make it fun, it's fun, whatever. But for the most part, in this situation, what are you talking about? Just go. Walk away. Walk away. Like someone has clearly told you explicitly, you're not good enough today. Why would you sit in that situation? And they're telling you, if you like to fuck them and you really don't want to date them, then yeah, fuck them and keep going. But if you really want to date, then why would you still stay in that situation? Especially when they've clearly told you they don't want. First of all, that's even racist. And anyway, I'll never date an Asian. It's crazy. You want to fuck me, but you want to.
No, but like those are some of the elements that people used to choose, though.
What do you mean?
Right? It's like it's looks, it's race,
That's
it's
what I'm saying. Like,
you know, personality.
Everything I've said still stands.
Yeah.
If you are in a relationship or you're talking or dating someone and one party is explicitly said no to something,
okay,
you are actively choosing to ignore what they said to pursue what you're hearing. Because right now, the person he's saying, she clearly said, I enjoy fucking you, but I'm never going to date you. There's nothing else to think about. If you want to date her, she says she's not dating you. Nothing you cannot change your race. Nothing you can do is going to change that.
But you might be able to change her mind.
How? And that thinking is why people are in 5 years situationships.
So this says, is this emotional laziness or modern dating culture?
I feel like people, not everybody has to like you. Not everybody wants to date you.
But they want to have sex with you?
Yes. How is that a bad thing?
How is it a bad thing?
Yes.
How can you, how can you want me,
Okay.
but not want me?
Are you telling me your dick and your persona are very joined?
Yeah, but you can't ignore the fact that like it's still part of the person.
No, I've known some people who have who can put it down in the bed.
I get
or
what
terrible
you're
human
saying.
beings, but the sex is great. And I'm just gonna suck it up.
Well,
don't talk when you're
not
fucking.
gonna have sex with a terrible human being. Should I mention a list of people who might be good?
Okay. I knew you were gonna say. First of all, please do not keep that to the
No, it's true though.
No,
Should I give you another one
that
that is probably good? Osama. I'm sure many wives will probably be like, yo, that's crazy.
That's too loud.
No, it's too loud. Should I keep going?
No.
Honestly,
Okay, so we're telling. I don't know if the point is, I don't know if I come from a different school of thought, but I think mixing good sex with being a good partner confuses people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can have really, really good sex and the person might not just be a good partner to you. I've had that several times. That's okay. You don't have to confuse the two. And also that's where the conversation comes in about like dating and having sex and how that can cloud your judgment. Because there are people who like, because they enjoy the sex so much and the passion is there.
Right.
Anyone in marriage will tell you passion will go away. Passion fades. Love goes away. If you do not like a person or your partner, the relationship is not going to last a long time. So in this situation, the girl is clearly telling him, I do not like you. I enjoy having sex with you, but I do not like you. That's a big thing to remember.
But that means she doesn't enjoy having sex with him.
That's not
She
true.
enjoys having sex, period.
No. I can enjoy having sex with you and not like you.
But that's the thing. That means like the person doesn't matter.
It also,
Because like
it's sex.
if no, yes, that's what I'm saying. If you're having
Yeah.
sex with someone, right?
Yeah.
It's like at that point the person is just like a toy. Like meaning that you can replace the person and
don't-
you will still enjoy the sex.
I feel like I don't think
It's
so.
not. It's not
'Cause
about
people
the
have
sex
passion.
with that person.
No, because I've had sex with someone who like it was really good, but we didn't work out. But it was really good. So we spent like 3 days together. Typical like lesbian life. Like you spend a whole weekend together. You're like, oh, you're gonna be there forever. But it was just like, no, it was 3 days and we're fine, and then I moved on. If I had thought because of those 3 days I was gonna end up with her, then okay. But those 3 days were the best 3 days, the best time, cuddled up, loved up, watched every single thing on the moon. We're chilling. And I still know we're not good partners to each other. You know what I mean? Like it happens. I don't think we need to equate that with being a good partner because you can simply have. So a lot of women sometimes you hear the term dickmatized, right? When you're so in love with this idea of this person that you actually forget that this person is.
But
actually
what idea?
not. They have good dick, so you're like, oh, because they have good dick, that means they're the love of my life. Let the emotions go down. You realize that they're just terrible people.
Okay, so can you ever flip a situationship into a relationship?
I think so.
I think you're coming from a place of power. Can we like talk about this?
Okay.
The power dynamics that exist.
See, let me explain to you this.
Okay.
And I think maybe that's why people who listen to my podcast, I want to teach this particular rhetoric. I would never, ever, ever, ever let a woman not understand that she has power too in a relationship. For too long, women are told they have to wait to be chosen. They have to wait to be told or to be picked.
Yeah.
Since we're kids, I don't want any girl to feel that way. Like, I was talking to a guy friend the other day, and he literally was like, aren't you ready to settle down? Like, what's wrong with you? Find a man, find this. And I told him, I said, no. Like, why are you telling me that? You're in your 30s, early 30s now. Why are you telling me? Because you're not settling down. You're not looking for marriage. You're not looking for a relationship. So why are you telling me to do the same thing, right? Fisaya Longe is the owner of Kai Collective. And there was a tweet I saw where her mom said she's been telling women not to get engaged and not to be in relationships with men. And now she just got engaged. And people are like, she also runs $1 million business. Why didn't they get inspired by her business acumen? Why they focus on the fact that she has a man now and she's in love? For me, I want women to understand that you have a choice too. And I was talking to someone the other day too about emotions. And now women have a lot more emotions and feelings and we care. But that's because we're raised to be nurturers. Like we're raised to be mothers, wives, all this stuff. Think for yourself too. Why do you think you want this person so bad? Especially when they're not choosing you too.
Right.
Like you want someone who chooses you for you. And if someone isn't choosing you, you have every fucking right to leave that situation. You're not powerless in this. Like you deserve better. You deserve someone who would choose you and want you. And the caveat to that is, especially if you know how much you want them. Like every situationship I've heard is the girl saying, maybe someday he's going to pick me. Maybe someday she's going to pick me. I need to wait. I would always go into a relationship like it's a partnership.
Yeah.
Every relationship is a partnership. A woman and a man, a woman and woman, a man and man, whatever the dynamic is, every partnership should become, English is terrible. Everyone should go into partnership on an equal level.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Every partnership needs to start equal, meaning both of you are making the decision to be together at that point for a reason. So if both of you are like, we just broke up with our exes, but really enjoy each other's company. For now, let's have this tough conversation. I really like you. You really like me, but I'm not ready for a relationship. You're not ready for a relationship. We can have fun. Whenever this becomes more for you or for me, we'll have that tough conversation.
We'll discuss it, right?
We'll go. I know for a fact, if I wanted to be in a relationship tomorrow, I'm going to find a relationship.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go. Like, I will not wait for
You
anything
think that's
else.
normal?
Well, I hope it would be.
So that's the thing is like, I feel like, and you guys let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Because of what you said about like for me in the dating scene, I understand the privilege that I have. So in my head, I'm like, is everyone having this experience?
Yeah.
And even for you, right? Like when you say that, and you should say that, like women should know that like they have the choice. But it's like in like the actual dating scene, is that the way it is? Because you end up, because like I can also see how like it's like a pendulum, right? I can see how like that advice, and that's what we see going on. It swings so much. I feel people love extremes. And then they take it to the extreme that they end up like being single for years.
Okay.
And now they're like 38, 39, and they're
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, but like this was the advice that I received, but like it
Mhm.
did not work. But yeah, it's because like you went all the way.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean? So it's like, what is the middle for someone who is like, okay, I'm
what's-
building up their esteem.
So someone told me that men don't end up with someone they love. They end up with someone who's going to start their family, who they're going to start a family with. So a man can be in love and know like at 21 that this is the person they're going to marry, but they realize that they're not ready yet.
Mhm.
So at 30, when they're ready to have a family, whoever is available, they marry and they create that life with.
Mhm.
That always stuck with me because I don't think women try to operate that way.
I don't think that's true though.
Who said that?
For me, I don't think that's true.
No, go ahead.
I don't think that's true.
I think that's a 70% true
I think that
statement.
because that's like considering the fact that like the person is also thinking about like.
Because think about it.
For
For a
me- let
lot
me-
of guys,
Let me
Go
give you. For me, I think my choice is someone that like I'm absolutely in love with,
Mhm.
but like someone who's going to be a life partner because
Mhm.
like it's difficult to find someone that like you connect with that can be with you like 100%,
for sure.
right? And I think like that's the baseline.
Yeah.
Children, all those things are extra, but I
Yeah.
do understand why some people care about all those other things because it's for me, I'm more career focused. So
Yeah.
the career could be the children in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, again, as a man, you're career focused,
Yeah.
right? So like you are allowed to be career focused at your age.
Mhm.
Women aren't because women have a biological clock, right?
Okay.
So a woman's perspective is
They say they aren't.
they're not.
or-
They can't. They're not allowed to be.
Okay.
I said, like society doesn't tell them that. They
Right.
tell them there's a countdown. I wish that perspective shifted.
Yeah.
Because even within dating, I think if more women, if you started dating at 20, if you wanted to get married at 25,
Mhm.
well, you never actually started dating until 24.
Mhm.
In any mathematical situation or statistics, that is saying that you're starting yourself off at the negative probability
Yeah.
that that's going to happen.
You're probably going to lose. Yeah.
right? But if you want to get married at 25 and you start dating at 21, there's a higher
And by
chance.
dating, like the example
Meeting
that
with
you talked
people,
about.
going out,
Right.
joining Facebook groups,
Yeah.
like sports groups, actively seeking out opportunities to date.
Yeah.
And also, I'm of the thought process that if you want to date, you should date like you're applying for a job. That's always been my thing. I don't think people think about it
Efficiency.
that way. Maybe I'm just so logical when I think about relationships.
No, you're
because
right, you're
think
right.
about it. I know so many of my friends who are like, I really want a guy, but they've been in their house for the past
They
2
haven't
weeks.
done
They've
anything
never
about
gone
it.
out.
Right.
They don't have any extracurricular activity.
Mhm.
They don't play flag football. They don't go out to dinners.
Flag
they
is
don't go
great.
to bars.
Can mean some toxic men in flag football.
You know what I mean? Like basketball, they
just
don't
flag.
go to like gyms. You know what I mean? Like they don't do anything, but they
Yeah.
stay at home and complain. If I wanted to date someone at 25 and I started dating at 21, and maybe at 21 I was still in college, so I wanted to really go out on dates, I'll join a dating app or I will join like my youth Bible group or something. There's a higher chance that I'm going to meet somebody if I did that. And if I did that 21, 22, 23, 24, after 4 years, there's a higher chance I'm going to meet someone. What are you searching?
I think what Sophie's explaining is the most pragmatic like approach to dating that I've ever seen. And like, you know, I'm always looking for what is like a one-step solution to something. And I think what you're talking about like is
Yeah.
because like there are a lot of like people can give you their experience of like, oh my God, I met this guy, rom-com movie, right?
Yeah.
Or some people's like, oh, my dating life is super hard. But like if you actually like you're like, my goal is to succeed in this
Yeah.
thing, what you want to do is like go out there and like
Try.
yeah.
And people, I feel like it's this conversation about how like not decentering men, decentering people, not dating. But like if people want partnership for the
Right.
rest of their lives,
How are you gonna find it?
let them find partnership.
Right.
Like if I wanted a job, I would apply to 100 jobs to find that one job because all I need is a yes.
Yo, you said the century man, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just take this pot of religion and just throw it into the mix. Because everything we're talking about like this, if we throw religion into the mix,
No, but religion makes it even simpler and easier because religion
It depends
tells
on
you
what
no.
perspective.
Because if you think about it, religion tells you in Islam especially, most women get married so young is that you go to the mosque, sit down. One's auntie's son's uncle has told you that, oh, this person is single. Oh, my daughter too is single. Oh, let's talk to each other. Let's bring it up. Oh, they are fine. Oh, yeah, they're gonna get married. That's how it works.
yeah, but
If you go in most very, very strict Christian households, it's the same thing too.
Yes.
Somebody knows somebody whose son is single, whose daughter is single. They both match and then they work. And then
Okay.
most of those relationships, they might not be the most passionate, fully loving, whatever relationships. But most of those also are either really, really toxic or they end up being really, really stable because they understand going into that it's a partnership.
Right.
Like we know we want to give birth to kids, have those kids, raise those
But
kids,
would you
build a family.
classify those relationships like successful?
What is success?
No, because like I feel like
do you think relationships are successful based on passion, based on love? Because if you hear Michelle Obama and Barack Obama talk about relationships, Michelle makes it very clear. There are moments where I did not love this man, but he was my partner.
I agree. I understand what you're saying.
And I think young kids.
I'm talking about the selection, but Michelle and Barack are a different selection process to what you just described, right?
Because Michelle would tell you that even when she was like when we were going to date and stuff, it was like I'm never going to go for him because I don't know this man.
No, but there was a point where like they actually like started dating, they got into it, they moved in together, right? Like there's a whole process versus like two people who just like, oh, like this is a partnership.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like lack that will probably exist underneath that, like, okay, this is a partnership, and it will probably end up working, but it's never spoken about. It could be the sex,
honestly,
it could be the treatment, it could be love.
anything. But also like I think the way you go into a relationship dictates the outcome. Like for a lot of arranged marriages, the women going into it sometimes going and saying, this is not going to be the love of my life. I've let that go. But I'm going to make this the most successful relationship I've ever been in.
Pragmatic. That's the
you know
word.
what I mean?
Because like, I see what you're saying, but it's like, it is this mindset that you can like cheat yourself into creating your reality.
That's what we do in life.
No, I know. But I think people don't move like that.
But that's why I want, if you're listening to this person, I want you to start moving that way.
Okay.
Because you don't understand. Nobody knows what we're doing in this life. No man has the power to know what they're doing in this life. Nobody does. We're all faking this shit.
Oh my God, that's true, because that dictates your actions.
That dictates your actions the entire way.
It's like, are you looking at this man as like, okay, this is a man that like I want to love.
What
this
makes
is a woman that I want
makes
to love.
him the person that is going to be the best person for you for the rest of their life? Who is he?
Is by how
he's figuring his shit out too. You're figuring your shit out too.
I just had goosebumps.
You're so dramatic.
No, can you see it?
I actually can't.
No, I have goosebumps.
That's what I want women to start thinking of.
Right.
We're literally all faking this shit. You have the power. You can decide how you deal with relationships. No one has to tell you that. Your emotions matter. Your love matters. Your life matters. And we give too much power to the other person to pick us, choose us. No, we're faking this shit. Everyone's faking it. People can explain their way out of everything. Why can't you explain yourself out of this one? Anyways,
okay. So next bar.
Okay.
The what are we conversation. Right.
I am Mrs. What Are We?
Who's the problem?
I don't think there's a problem there.
Okay.
Give me again. So I like, I don't know if you can tell by this podcast episode, I like control. I like clarity. And I think things get really messy when there is no clarity in conversations. For example, if I meet someone I really like, from the get-go, I'm asking that conversation, what are you looking for?
Right.
I'm not scared of an answer. Because if you tell me, oh, I'm just looking for someone to hang out with and have sex with, I'm going to respond exactly accordingly. If I'm like, oh, I'm not really looking for that. Did you hear my stomach?
No.
Oh. If I'm not looking for that, then we don't align. I move on. If we don't align, but I'm really curious to see how I can experience you, I stay. But it's never going to be lost on me that you didn't want what I could have wanted. Does that make sense? So when I hear the what are we conversation, too many people are too scared to say, I don't want to push them away. If you're already thinking that, you shouldn't be with the person.
Right.
Because somebody who wants to be with you shouldn't be scared of the what are we conversation. They should even welcome it. And never be too afraid, especially if you're already thinking it, to ask that question. What are we? Are we going to be dating soon? Is there a future here? Do you see a future with us? And make sure that caveat is spoken, not in like really intense moments, but off the get-go. Right. If you're talking date number 4 or 5, you've gone on multiple dates. This is when you're like, maybe at some point you're like, I'm really trying to see other people if this person is interested, but I enjoy having dinner with them or going to museum or exploring, whatever. So let me double check to make sure we're on the same page. Ask.
Yeah.
What are we? Oh, I really enjoy dating you, but I don't know if there's a future here. Yeah, understood. People oftentimes run away from that question because that oftentimes dictates how the relationship continues on. Because if I'm someone if I ever asked you what are we and you told me, oh, you really are interested in a relationship, and I'm like, oh, you're moving too fast for me, I don't think that's what I'm interested in, then the dynamic shifts. And some people don't oftentimes want to shake that dynamic. Well, that's also where selfishness comes in.
Right.
Because I remember my most recent what are we conversation. I remember like I told this person I love them. We're really, really good. And I was like, I wasn't looking for a relationship, but I'm in love with someone. So now this is me being very toxic because I am in love with you, but I don't want a relationship. I need to unpack that. Therapy is helping. But I want to make sure me and you are on the same page about what we are. So what are we? Oh, I don't want anything serious. Oh, then I shouldn't be telling you I love you. I need to pull this back so it doesn't get bad for the both of us. That's why emotions come in. Oh, that's going to be messy. Oh, that's not fair. Oh, I can love you, but still not be ready for something. That's true. But there are other people who can love me and are ready. And that's a decision I'm going to actively have to decide on whether I want to continue with you or not. And people don't like having those conversations because they think it's difficult, which it is.
Right. So how can people be more brave towards like taking those risks, right? Because I feel like a lot of people are weighted down by their past. Mm-hmm. And what you're explaining is like people need to kind of like think future and think forward.
Yeah, I think too many people and I don't know everything, guys. If you're listening to this, like I'm not.
You kind of do.
I'm not
pragmatic Sophie.
I'm not Miss Know-It-All.
Yeah.
I give grace with relationships a lot because I think I grew up with a single mom, right? My mom has always been the one. Like she had men coming in and out of the house as like whatever. For the most part, like my mom was my mom. Like she's a single mom. She did everything she wanted to do. What happened? So I think I also view relationships very differently because I know I can survive by myself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I think that also like has equipped me to think the way I think. I want more people to have an active choice in their love life because we all do, right? At the end of the day, if you want something and the person you're with doesn't want the same thing as you, you have every right to leave, to go away, to leave. And I think we're going to talk about it. Some girl said like, oh, like I went on another day and he blocked me and he stopped talking to me. Mm-hmm. Then that's not your person. Like move on. Like that's not your and I like to say like I enjoy heartbreak. I know I've told you this before. Like I enjoy heartbreak. I enjoy falling in love and falling out of love because I feel like it makes me feel like I'm human and I understand like because even with friendships, right? Like I am not the person who weighs relationships and friendships as very separate. Yeah. Because people tend to forget that you're going to have friendships that you have for the rest of your life. Why are you going? And the same thing with relationships too. Right, so why are you going to make them separate? Right? A relationship is just you're having sex with the person. Usually that's mostly what the difference is, and you guys have signed documents to say you're going to be, life partners, have kids together,
and hopefully that person is your best friend.
Hopefully that person is your best friend. Right. But for the most part, like you're dealing with relationships the same way you're going to deal with friendships.
Ooh. Well, what if they're not your best friend? Is that possible?
Yeah. I've been in relationships where I had my best friend and I also was with someone, and my partner was not my best friend.
Could that be why it probably didn't work?
No, I don't think so. I feel like I
compartmentalize that best friend element.
Yeah.
In your partner
but
my
partner is my best friend. Like, of course, they were my best friend.
But obviously, you not tell them everything. Yeah, right? Because like people also have different best friends.
Yeah, like of course, like they're my best friend. We talk about everything. I can depend on them for everything. But you're putting so much on one person.
Yeah, but like it's also a good thing, right? Because sometimes like the relationship and the love might just fall off for a second.
Yeah. And
if you have that like, oh, this person's my best friend. Like I actually care about this person, right?
That's what, when we talk about from the beginning, you have to like the person.
Yeah, like I actually like this person, Like I don't want to see, because those things will help kind of like bring back like, you know what, let me not do this thing or let me change this. Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's where, for me, I always want to like my partner. Like if I like you, everything else works. Like as long as we're friends, we're cool. You're my guy, you're my G. We're set.
Okay, so I want us to be honest. I'm going to skip down a little bit to this. Honesty hour.
Okay.
Who is more delusional, men or women in situationships? Be honest. I don't know. I actually don't know. But
I feel like, because I think in straight relationships, right, we tend to hear more stories of women being delusional. Right. But in same-sex relationships, that kind of doesn't matter because it can be either or. I've seen femme-to-femme relationships where like both of them are women in the situation and like one of them is still delusional. Like it doesn't matter. I think the person who is delusional is a person who wants something and thinks what they've been told could change.
Okay.
Right? Like if someone tells you, I'm not ready for a relationship, I don't want anything serious. Why would you think they would want something serious 2 months from now?
Okay. So this guy, he's a certified coach and he did this masterclass for women in situationships.
Okay.
If you're in a situationship as a woman and you've been dating this guy for multiple months and you're still trying to get the commitment, but he hasn't committed yet. There's always excuses. And now you're like having to leave stuff at his house to kind of mark your territory and make sure if other women come around, they know that you're there. And maybe every time you come over, you have to like look in the trash can and see what was left over and make sure he's not actually sleeping with someone else.
Everything we've been talking about right now has been clearly two people who are having honest conversations with themselves. My advice has been, if you hear something you don't want to hear, you leave. What he's talking about is when past that, you've had the conversation, they've told you exactly what they don't want, what they want, and you're still in that situation.
Right.
I can't help you.
Okay.
I can't address that.
Okay.
Like, if you have to go to someone's house to put your things there to mark territory.
Do people do this?
Yes. If you have to do that,
okay,
you look in the mirror and ask yourself, what the fuck am I doing?
Right.
Because at no point has that ever led to anything good.
Right.
And we all know this. We do.
Because once you think about it, like, it's never going to go away.
It's like, first of all, you don't trust this person.
And you probably find something.
This person does not respect you, clearly. This person doesn't want to be with you. But they're entertaining you. Both of you are both toxic. And so you're in this cycle that neither one of you is going to break because you don't have the self-esteem needed to walk away.
Right.
And that's when we're talking about situationships, that's what it comes up to. Because we've talked about this right now. You're like, oh, like, you know, I'm choosing. You need to have the self-esteem to choose yourself in every situation. Like right now, question is, what do you want? If you answer that with, I want a relationship. Are you in a relationship that you know is a relationship? No. Then go find a relationship. Do you want a situationship? Then enjoy it. Do you want just fuck buddies? Then so be it. Ask yourself, what do you want? Especially if you're with someone. If you're talking to someone and you don't know how to answer, what do you want? Then you're just deceiving yourself, essentially.
So like I said, he's a relationship expert, right? So he said this.
All right, this is the best I could find. You see the square in the square? Let's say the big square is women I would sleep with, right? This is how a man is thinking. And the smaller square over there is women I would marry. And let's assume there's another square that's totally outside of this box is women I'm not attracted to, right? And so the issue is both the women a man would sleep with and the women that he would marry, okay, they largely get the same type of treatment at first, okay, until about two crucial points. But this is the issue. And the mere fact that you're on the date with this man means that you're from date one, he already knows he would sleep with you. The mere fact he asked you out means he would sleep with you. But the treatment is still largely the same. So as you're getting to know him, a lot of times he's just thinking, you know, I got to pass all these tests. I got to overcome all these hurdles to get to a point where we're sleeping together. It's only until a few crucial points that there becomes a clear distinction and you can tell that, okay, maybe this guy doesn't see you as someone he would marry. Let's talk about those points.
What are those points?
What do you mean?
Like, what do you think?
I think this is exactly what we've been talking about.
Yes.
Because let me explain this to you, right? What he's saying, anyone in this particular situation, what he's talking about, like the fact that because here's the thing. The power dynamic in the current society that we live in puts men in the position of power because we're raised to wait to be picked. So that's how he is thinking about it. So if you're a woman watching this, my approach is oftentimes different, right? Because for me, my thing is I think like this too. And I want more women to think like this too. Like, I can have sex with you and not want to marry you. But we oftentimes hear this end because, oh, if you're doing that, then you're a slut. You're not, you're too fast. You're this, you're that, right? He has the balls, let's call it that, to do a slideshow like this, to talk about human beings and women as some sort of sport, some sort of like gameplay. So
'Cause
I
he's
want to
a
fuck.
coach.
Because, yeah, you know, I mean, but like, there are women who are buying into this. He's not speaking about this with any kind of respect. He's simply saying,
There's so many
men,
women in his comments.
are they
Like they're
agreeing?
learning. Yes.
But that's the thing. You see what I mean by self-esteem?
Right.
It's like, if you grow up and you're constantly hearing you need to behave a certain way to be picked, this is where you go to listen to stuff.
Right.
Because you're seeking the man's validation, you're seeking the man's approval, when that should not be the case. In any situation, you should be also shopping.
Right.
You should also want and have the power in whatever partnership too, right? So if he's saying women in situationships, again, a woman in a situationship who is there because she doesn't want to be there is most likely because she's waiting to be chosen. Right. She's lying to herself, self-esteem issues, whatever. That's the cold truth. If you want more, go find more. Like for me, if I'm in a situationship, it's because I want to be in a situationship. Like we're both not ready. Let's have fun while we want to. When one person is ready to go out, you go out, have a nice day, have a nice life, have fun.
Right.
The amount of men
that you've tortured.
Yo, the amount of men, bro, that I would tell this to, and they just don't understand how I'm thinking that way.
Yeah.
And who find it more of a challenge to then try to pull me down, try to say, no, I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to treat you well. And then, no, I mean it. If I don't want you, I don't want you. Like, I'm not going to pretend any other way. Like, I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about different memories. Again, it's all about self-esteem and choice. We have choices. Women have choices in this. And once they realize that, the game is different. Like dating should never be a matter of like, oh, I'm waiting for this person to choose me. I'm going to his house or her house to... Why?
Okay, so with what he's saying, if you go on a date with a guy, right, what are some of those things, right, that you, for example, would be able to be like, oh, like this is the difference. It's like, okay, I'm dating someone. This is someone that wants to fuck and this is someone that doesn't.
Why don't you just ask? Why are we playing mind games? I'm so confused. Like, why don't we ask?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Why so many games? Why are we
I
playing
think, okay,
games?
what if you don't want to ask? What if you don't have the balls?
Why?
Right, okay.
You should.
Let's-
Am
what
I
about
Too
this-
Loud podcast season 2, episode 2. Let's start growing balls. Everybody, let's
Okay,
start asking
what about,
questions.
let's try this alternate solution.
Okay.
Right? What if you just don't put in as much energy and use what you said?
You see how messy
Date
things
him.
get?
No, date him, but also date other people and give him time.
Why not just find clarity? What is this? What is our aversion to finding clarity in relationships? How many times have you seen someone who you want to be friends with
Yeah, but
and you're
when
like,
though? When?
let me know what... As soon as you start questioning, you need to start asking.
It's like after the first date.
No, as soon as... It doesn't matter. I can date you 5 times and still not come up because
But-
maybe I'm not that interested.
Okay.
And then if it comes up for you,
What if
you
it's too
ask
early?
me. Who decides when it's too early
But
enough?
that's-
I know people who have met at the first date, looked at each other and said, I'm going to marry you next week. And they get married next week. And the people who date for 2 years and they're like, oh, we're never going to get married. And they had that conversation.
More courage.
Why not? Because the biggest thing to understand is if you don't ask, you're postponing the inevitable. Because it will come up
Right.
at someone's expense. It might be at your expense or their expense.
Right.
We just need to ask. It's terrifying. It is so scary. But one thing that's always helped me in dating is I'm going to be the one to ask. Oh, are you single? Are you looking to date someone? Are you looking for a relationship? And if someone comes to me when I ask them, they're like, oh, you're moving too fast. You're moving too slow, baby. Out the door. Why am I wasting my time with your child? Why are we playing those games?
Right.
If I ask you, is there more to this? Or are you just wanting to fucking go? The amount of times I've looked at someone and be like, you just want to fucking leave, right? No, I want to date. No, it's okay. Don't lie, baby. It's okay. Like, just answer.
Right.
You want to just fucking leave. That's fine. The games come in when you start playing mind games with each other. Like, oh, if I tell her yes, she's not going to let me fuck. If I tell her no, that's when complications happen. Because then people are like, because then if you now lie to me, because people lie. Sorry, guys, if I keep flashing you with how I'm sitting. I'm getting so comfortable. If people lie too, right? So like that's where discernment comes in. So if I ask someone who I really, really like, hey, do you know where this is going? And they're like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, I want to date you. I want to get to know you. And I say, okay, I'm in. And I start talking to them, whatever. We finally have sex and then they ghost me or they leave. That's not on me.
Right.
That's on them. Like you chose to lie. You carry that burden. I didn't. And it might sound so easy for me to say this now, But I hate that women blame themselves for not having the foresight for wicked people.
Yeah.
Like, because someone shot you doesn't mean you were at fault for standing in front of the gun.
Yeah.
No matter how fast you ran, the bullet still found you and it shot you.
Yeah.
Nobody can blame you for that.
I think a lot of people scream self-love.
Yeah.
But like,
it's not
there's a
active.
particular action that comes with self-love that I think like people don't have. Because honestly, if you love yourself, nobody can treat you.
Nobody can treat. When I tell you, the girlies who are spoiled rotten, I usually, and let me tell you this, when I was growing up, I used to still, I'm not going to lie, I used to think, maybe when I was like in college or maybe high school, when I didn't understand where I fit in, I used to be so jealous of the girls who just said it like it was. Like they were the ones who got into the relationship and I was the one who would be like waiting, I'm waiting for him to notice me or her to notice me. I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that. And I began to realize, because I would be hating on those girls, like how are they the ones getting the men? They don't waver in their standards.
Right.
They don't. They tell you exactly what it is. They ask you the question. They don't play. You know coming into this exactly the kind of man or woman they're attracting and they get it. If you're going to come into my life and my space, I know exactly what I want. The only reason I don't want to be in a relationship is because I don't want a relationship.
Right.
If I want a relationship today, I'll be in a relationship today. And if someone listening to this sees this as a challenge to come and try to be in a relationship with me, I don't want it. And I would tell you that because I'm not ready for one. Right? But that doesn't mean that I don't want to have fun.
Ooh, question.
Tell me.
You're flinging that mic.
I know, I'm so sorry. Sorry, guys. The audio is so bad. We might figure this out, fix it later.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
What would make you be ready
Fuck
for
off.
a relationship? No, I'm curious.
Right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because like, in many ways, my priority right now is my career, right? And anyone who knows me knows how much like I love. And anyone in my friend group would tell you that I love really hard and I love well and I enjoy loving, but I just don't know if one person is deserving of all that love. I don't know, it makes me cocky or arrogant or whatever, but like, I don't know if I've met someone who's matching my energy.
So that's the thing, it will be about the person.
It will be about me.
No, yeah, but like,
because like I'm not actively seeking a relationship, right?
I don't think anyone, and this is my
people should be.
No, like, again, this is where I stand.
You don't think anyone should be looking for relationships?
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be looking for a relationship.
You just negated everything I said from the beginning of this episode.
Yes, but remember what I said from the start?
Which is what?
I think you need to like exist and go to things that you enjoy and let love like find you.
That is stupid.
No, I'm telling you. And it works in my life. When I think about.
So for someone like me, let me give you an example.
Yes.
If I could never end up with someone if I do exactly what I'm doing. I wake up, I film, I sleep, I wake up, I film, I sleep in my house.
Yeah, in your house,
leave home.
in your house,
because they're
sure.
introverts.
In your house for sure. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm taking your advice and I'm measuring it together.
Okay.
Your pragmatic like spreadsheet, Excel sheet, dating situation.
Do Excel sheet. You're
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like if you go out, like if you with the goals and everything you want out of life over the next 10 years that we talk about, like if you chase that, for sure you're gonna meet someone who's gonna be like, who's gonna match your energy. Like it's guaranteed.
Think about it. Tracy Ellis Ross. Because we're also thinking about this from the standpoint of me and you talking, but there's a lot of dynamics in play in society, meaning you're a dark-skinned Black woman, you're short, you're tall, you might have an accent, you might not live in the home country, you might live abroad. There's different, like you're educated, you're not educated, you have money, you don't have money. All these influence relationships and your ability to choose, right? Like if you are in college in this situation, you start dating someone, it makes sense that you're going to find somebody there and end up
Okay. Long story short.
Okay.
I want you to describe your ideal partner. No, because like, let's build a partner.
Oh my God, I've never thought about this. Yeah. Holy shit.
Describe it.
This is why I'm not in a relationship, because I don't. Oh, you describe. Oh, well. You
Who, me?
have one
Yeah,
here.
I'll describe my girlfriend.
Okay.
Someone who is in my industry, someone who understands what I do, someone who is as career driven as me, that like we both push each other.
No one has ever asked me to describe my ideal partner before.
Yeah.
No, this is giving me.
No, because you know why I said so? Because you described Tracy as Ross, right?
Yeah.
And she's single, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm imagining like, yes, you're gonna be in all these different situations, and yet if you have standards, if you have something that you want, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, the type of person, nobody's perfect, right? So that person is going to also have something that they're not able to give, but the thing that they're able to give is so much more that it complements like what you have going on. That's why I'm like, what is yours?
What do
like,
I want?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let's think
Not
about
necessarily
it.
what you want. Like, who is this person?
Who is this person?
Let's describe
Who
them.
is my ideal person? Who is my ideal partner?
Obviously, the gender doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So that's one.
Oh my God.
What do they like?
No, I've never thought about this before.
Right?
I think that's probably why, like, also when I talk about relationships, like, interesting.
I mean, try. You can try.
Okay.
Let's start with this. Like, what do they like?
My ideal partner.
Yeah.
Because also what's not helping right now is I'm thinking about people I've had in the past, and I'm like,
Forget about that.
okay, future Sophie thinking.
Yes.
What is my
and
ideal
forget
partner?
about your future of where you think you want to go, because in this scenario, this person might not have the same career success because you don't care about those things, right? Like, just who is this person as a person?
I want someone who's driven. Okay. Someone who makes me laugh really,
Okay.
really hard. Someone intentional about me. So someone who's very like intentional about planning, taking care of me, all that stuff. Someone who is considerate. Someone who's nice. I want a nice person in my life. Someone who's family oriented. Their family is big and important to them, because my family is like huge and important to me. Someone who makes money. Like, I need someone who's not, because I have a lot of money, thank God. But like, they don't need to make more than me or even as much as, they just need to be making money enough to where they can take care of themselves.
They shouldn't be broke.
Shouldn't
Steady
be broke.
income.
Yeah, steady income is good. That's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add?
Ideally, I think I'm gonna end up with a woman.
Okay.
Like, I don't see myself getting married. I have no interest in marrying a man. My mom would hate that. I think
That's something else to unpack in another episode.
Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, that is my ideal person.
All right.
We might have this conversation again in a different episode, because I'm actually now going to sit and journal
and think about it.
about who I want my ideal partner to be, because I am not ready for a relationship now. I'm enjoying just sort of like, I'm okay.
Oh my
like,
God, you know what would be so cool?
what?
If you write that list and then you read it to your mom and ask your mom, like, what do you think?
Interesting.
That would be crazy.
Okay.
Guys, go to mytooloud.com/date Sophie to apply.
No, what? Please do not do that. I'm curious. I'm going to write that. Maybe in another episode when we talk about relationships in some capacity, we'll bring this back up. Interesting. You stopped me with that one. Okay.
That wasn't even in my notes.
I know. You just thought about it. Okay. Look at us.
So
Season
moving on
2.
from that,
Okay.
grown women in situationships,
Okay.
right? Because you talked about this biological clock. Because I'm going to throw in some things that's popular or not, right?
Okay.
Society says that women are emotionally mature, right?
Yes.
The older women are, yes. But how do women still like end up in situationships?
By not choosing themselves.
I feel like that's an easy answer.
It's not. It's the fact. Oh, sorry. Situationships are easy. Relationships are hard.
Okay.
Right? But you can flip that as somebody who...
No, finish your thought.
You can flip that as someone who is talking about like almost 30s in situationship. Again, from the beginning of this conversation, we've made it clear. You're in a situationship when one or the other party is not interested in wanting to be in a committed relationship or have a label.
Right.
If you are, you should be out of there. That's the caveat. If both of you are in a ship and at some point the conversation comes up, what are we? And one person says, I'm not ready yet. The other person says, but I am. The logical thing to do is to walk away.
Right.
Because at no point did they tell you, I'm going to be ready soon. Now, that's different. Someone says, I'm going to be ready soon. And you say, okay, when you are ready, come find me.
Right.
I could have moved on and now it's your loss. Because again, that takes a certain level of self-esteem. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if you lost me, you might come back. But most of the time when you go, they don't come back. They don't.
So,
and people deep that. Like,
right.
we've had so many situations where the girl is like, oh yeah, like I walked away and I was hoping he came find me and he didn't. And then 2 months later he was married or she was married.
Right. But for someone who is 35,
Yeah.
right, biological clock, they want to have children,
Yeah.
all of that. What if that's another reason why they don't want to leave? Because they feel like they might not be able to jump into dating scene
Are
again.
you willing to continue to be in a cycle of exhaustion of where someone isn't choosing you because of something that's still keeping you unhappy?
Right.
Because even in situations like that, like if you're unhappy in a situationship, that's not healthy for you if you're trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
That's not a healthy situation to be in general. And also,
And that person's not going to make a good partner.
no,
A good parent.
A good parent.
Yeah.
A good husband, a good father. Like it just doesn't
That's a
work
good way
that
to
way.
look at it. Because like
It does, like
those bad decisions now transcend like your happiness
own
to
entire
then
life.
your children.
And
yeah.
this is so direct. Some people are not going to find a partner.
Yeah.
It sucks to hear. You might not ever end up with your own person
Right.
because life could be unfair.
Or you I feel like you
Or
might,
some people
but
might
it
find
might
their
happen
love-
later.
Or some people might find their
Children.
love at 21 and the partner passes away. And so they never find love again
Right.
for the rest of their life.
Or
They
I
find their
don't
love
think
at
children should
50
be a
or
factor.
60. No, but that's the thing. If you want children,
Go have children.
where?
Because you
Like IVF, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can afford it, yeah. But if
True.
not, I know I'm so
So many
young to say it
variables.
and it's really hard, but one thing I know, and again, maybe this pragmatic side of me talking.
Yeah.
I surround myself with people who like, I've built such a rich environment for myself. I am not focused solely on finding that partner for me.
Yeah.
I am building a community of people around me.
Around, right.
Every one of my friends is either married or has kids or something. So I'm going to be the auntie with all these
My
people around
sister
me.
says the same thing.
You know what I mean? Like I'm building such a rich community because life isn't only found
Yeah.
with one person for the rest of your life. You can live a full life with people around you,
Yeah.
right? Like I hear that a lot when people talk about people like women not having children and then being old and no one taking care of them when they're older. Yeah, but there are also people who have children whose children hate them and abandon them in nursing homes,
Yeah.
whose children pass away and so they still end up alone. People have different stories
That's
about
not reason
life.
enough to also have children. so-
Yeah, like
I
you
think-
just never know. And the world is so chaotic now. We don't even know if the world is going to still be here in 2 years, in 10
Yeah.
years with global warming. You never know. So act now. Choose yourself. Choose your happiness. Choose your fucking joy.
Yeah.
Like if you're listening to this and you're like in something that does not suit you, does not fuel you up, leave.
Yeah.
It's not going to change. Like I have never heard someone say you were so unhappy with this person yesterday and the person did a whole 180 and now they're the best person for
Yeah.
you. Especially without any therapy or thinking or thought. Like that's not how life works.
I think also have more conversations with people too, because like that's one thing I'm very fortunate to have. Like I've had conversations with like my sister who is like, she doesn't want to have children.
Yeah.
Right. I think sometimes like when you're in rooms and you're only in conversations with people who are thinking one way of like,
Yeah.
oh, family, children, and deep down you're like, maybe like you're on the fence or like you're not sure if you want it.
Yeah.
Obviously you're gonna want what everyone, because like then you be the only one out.
Yeah.
But if you're out there like finding new
Finding
communities,
community.
talking
'Cause
to
I
new
realized
people,
how
yeah.
important community was when early last year, so I think my friend just broke up with her boyfriend, but they were getting back together. One of my friends had just gotten married. Another one of my friends was actively dating. Another of my friend had just given birth. My brother had just given birth. So there's so much family and courtship and
Like
love
happening, yeah.
happening. And I remember people kept making comments about how like I would end up as the next Tracy Ellis Ross. Like I would be the auntie without the kids or the partner or whatever. Not even in a negative way, just in like, oh, Sophie, like we're gonna always be there for you. And I began to think that maybe I'm like lacking something, and I never was. Like I wasn't lacking.
Right.
Like if anything, I felt more fulfilled being able to pour into other people while still doing my thing. I have never been the girl who was aspiring to be in a relationship. And so I had to question that within myself. If I find someone who I want to be in a relationship with, so be it. I'm going to seek them out. I'm going to try to make it work. If it doesn't work, I'm going to move on. That's what life should be.
So interesting, because
What?
I don't think I can be with someone who is dependent on me.
You
I
can't.
think I would lose my mind.
You would lose your shit.
I would actually lose my mind. Like
You
I
would
can
lose your
deal
shit.
with the 10-20% because on one end it's like I don't even want the responsibility
Yeah.
of you thinking that I would help you.
But that's why you also know with an African woman, though.
Whoa.
No offense. We can edit that part out too.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry. It's true.
Okay.
Because like the way we're raised, the man is supposed to be the provider, right? This is just from the get-go.
That's interesting.
The man's meant to be the provider and the woman is meant to like be a nurturer, support, or whatever, at the bare bones of it. So if you meet a typical African woman, that's what she's looking for, right? And that's where the codependency comes in.
Right.
So your husband is home, you're helping them cook. This is not a bad thing. People have choices here. Feminism is all about equality and making choices.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of women also want, especially from our generation. And there are women now who are like, fuck that, I don't want this. And
I
they're
feel like
finding
even
their
women
own
that I've
thing.
dated in the past too are very
Yeah.
like self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have a type, and that is usually somebody who's chasing their own dreams and their own goals. And when
Right.
you guys meet, you hang out, For me, I don't want someone who's depending on me.
Right.
Like and what is crazy is I thought I did
gonna
for
be
the
my
longest
next
time.
question.
Well, what do I want?
Yeah.
I thought that's what I wanted for the longest time, but it was so funny to me how I would get so irritated so quickly when they were so dependent on
Oh
me.
my God.
I used to get
I would lose my
irritated.
mind.
Oh my God.
I would lose my mind.
Move the
I would
fuck
want to
away.
run. I would want to run away.
Away.
It's so bad.
Relax.
I'll be like,
But also that's where communication and trust comes in, right? And that's where when you don't communicate enough, you're gonna be issues. Like my current situationship, whatever it is, right? One thing I would always say is we communicate really well. If I'm ever feeling some type of way, we're just laughing about that yesterday. If I'm ever feeling some type of way, I am the one to ask, oh, I don't like this because this is happening. I don't want to deal with this. You either fix it or
I would say I think that's why it has lasted.
Yeah, like it's very much like a communication thing. It
Right.
works because I'm communicating and I know what I want. If this doesn't work and you're doing something, you're like, no, this is where I draw the line. Oh, I'm drawing the line too here.
Yeah.
Bye. I'll see you later. You know what I mean? Like it's all about conversation around what the partnership is bringing. And I think with social media, we tend to get lost in the weeds because a perfect relationship means both of you are choosing each other, whatever. That's usually what happens in partnerships. You're just choosing each other till thy kingdom come. Okay, next thing. Let's read this final thing before we end the episode. This is a Reddit screenshot. I went on a date to make my situationship jealous. Now he ghosted me and I'm low-key falling apart. Hey guys, just need to vent and maybe get some advice because I honestly don't know what to do anymore. So I've been in this situationship for 4 years with a guy I met online. He's 23 now and I'm 22. He was literally my first everything, emotionally, physically, all of it. We never made it official. Excuse me. No labels, but we're always a thing. It was kind of messy, but I liked him so much that I stayed. If you've been listening to the podcast, you already know my answer to this. We would fight, stop talking for like a week max, and end up back talking again. But about a month ago, we had a fight. He got upset that I hung out with this new guy I met. Thing is, we literally agreed like a month before that we were just friends and could see other people if we wanted to. That was my boundary since he never wanted to commit after all these years. Anyway, I won't lie. I only went on that date and told him about it to get a reaction. I thought maybe if he saw that other people were into me, he'd finally commit. But instead, he ghosted me, blocked me on everything. It's been 20 days. I just found out I'm unblocked now, but he still hasn't reached out. At first I was okay, distracted, busy, but now it's hitting hard. I cry randomly, overthink everything, miss him like crazy, and the worst part is I've kind of done this before. I once told him a guy wanted to court me and I said yes, hoping it would help me move on, and he blocked me then too, but eventually said sorry and came back. This time, nothing. I know I shouldn't have tried to play games and make him jealous. I know 4 years is a long time to wait for someone who won't commit, but it still hurts so much. I didn't expect to feel it this deeply after almost 3 weeks of silence. Should I reach out, just leave it alone, try to seriously move on, or even though I still want him to choose me? I'm just tired of feeling like this. Thanks for reading if you got this far. I just want to point out, she said, I still want him to choose me.
Yeah.
She's not choosing herself. End of story.
But is that wrong?
Well, yeah,
Because like, haven't you wanted someone so bad that it hurt?
absolutely. But you
Right.
know why I moved on? Because
Right.
I chose myself.
Right.
Because
What if
he
you don't
doesn't-
want to choose yourself?
he doesn't like her enough. He doesn't like her enough to care about her and her
Right.
feelings in that moment. Because the selfish thing to do in this moment is to give some closure to whatever it is that's going on.
Right.
He's not man enough, woman enough, whatever enough to choose peace here.
Right.
Give each other some closure, move on. Both of them not adult enough to have a conversation to say, hey, we've messed this up. This is getting messy. I just don't want to be with you. Let's move on. Instead, what she's doing is not choosing herself, because what she's saying is, I want him to choose me.
Right.
If someone, any partnership, you should never have to ask for the other person to choose you.
Yeah.
If you're having to ask that question, you should already know the answer to that. So
Alright, yeah.
I'm just gonna say, and also the whole like going on dates makes sense. That's just messy. It's
Yeah.
messy. She said it from the beginning. It was messy from the beginning. It makes sense why it didn't work out. I wish her the best, and I hope she chose herself, because again, the fact that she did that, he blocked her, shows her everything she needs to know. Grieve the relationship, the situationship when it didn't happen. Try to move on from it. Guys, moral of the story is, if you are in a situationship or a relationship or whatever it is, always ask yourself, what is it you want out of that situation? What is it you want out of dating or talking? If the answer does not correlate or align with the other person's, that is your answer to either commit to something or to quit it. Okay, so I'm never one to judge someone in a situationship or a relationship or whatever it is, because there are people who are in relationships who hate their relationship, who have been in a relationship for 10 years, 20 years, who hate each other, and so it doesn't really matter. My own is at every point of a partnership, no matter what, at any point in a partnership, if you feel like both of you are not aligned in what you guys want out of the conversation or the situation, make the decision to choose yourself. Choose yourself, prioritize yourself, have the self-esteem to walk away when you need to. That was my stomach if you didn't hear it. Let us know what you guys are going through. We might do an episode where we just talk about relationship dilemmas and me and Donald give our advice, because I feel like our perspectives are always different. So don't forget to send us a voice note at amitoloud.com or DM us on our podcast pages. We're going to put in the description or on Spotify somewhere so you can click on it. Don't forget to follow us on social media, on all our platforms at amitoloudpod. And don't worry, guys, don't forget also to leave a rating. We have 5 stars on Spotify and Apple and everything. So I'm like, you guys love listening to us, so I appreciate it. We're happy to be back. Season 2 has been off to a bang. And this next episode is going to be even more iconic. I'm really, really nervous. The next 2 episodes are going to be like crazy good. So it's going to be interesting how we do that. But
also, you need to build your future partner.
I need to, that's my homework for the next episode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the people that are coming on. We're gonna have our first guest ever on the podcast. I'm gonna ask them who they think I'm going to end up with, and we'll see what they say. So don't forget for us to write that in episode notes.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys, we love you so much. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you again next week on Wednesday at amitoloudpod.com. Bye, guys. Say bye, Donald.
Peace.
That was so good.
I know.